Thanks for tuning in. Today's video, or the purpose of today's video, is to discuss the fatal funnel. Why am I talking about the fatal funnel? Well, everyone has a fatal funnel in their home, and you have to incorporate that into your self-defense in your home, or your home defense or plan, I should say. What is the fatal funnel? A fatal funnel is anywhere that puts anybody that goes through that area at a high risk of injury or death. In other words, you have a doorway. Something happens, let's say, I don't know, like someone yelling fire in a crowded area and everyone tries to run out that one door. That doorway is a fatal funnel. People get injured because people panic and they're trying to squeeze through a small area. You hear about people being trampled in a crowded area. A lot of times it's that fatal funnel where it happens at. The same thing can happen in your home, and that's what this whole diagram, if you will, behind me is. Let me explain. Master bedroom, bathroom, bedroom. This is the front door, living room, kitchen, dining area. All right, I'll explain this afterwards. Let me explain to you why a fatal funnel, or what the good points of a fatal funnel is, and then I want to talk about the bad points. Here, this is you, right there, all right? 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, bad guys coming through the front door. Yes, most home invasions occur by the threat coming in through the front door. I didn't believe this, but sadly, I've dealt with 2 situations, and both of them dealt with people coming in through the front door. One, the door kicked open. The other one, they tried to get in, and I stopped them. Now, yes, windows, back door, basement door, it has happened. That's how the Cheshire murders happened. The guys came in through the Bilko basement doors, and they got into the house. Now, this situation, front door, all right? Guys come in, 1, 2 in the morning, you hear bumping the night, here you are. Anything, or anyone I should say, that comes down this hallway, this would be considered the fatal funnel. You're here. Anyone that comes down that hallway, you don't have to worry about. I'm not going to say you don't have to worry about. That was the wrong thing to say. You have to worry about them, but they're going to have more of a problem dealing with you than you are of them, because you have the advantage of surprise, and you have the advantage of concealment or cover, depending on what your self-defense situation is here. Plate carriers, body armor, ballistic shields. They do sell those to civilians. Maybe not the exact same one the police have. You can get those, but they have cheaper versions of those that are excellent for home defense. I'll get into those in a different video. But here you are. Anyone comes down that hallway, you have your 9mm, 45, whatever it is you're carrying, shotgun, AR, down here. Here's where people don't talk, or here's what people don't talk about in the fatal funnel. Whatever you have down here, assume they have the same thing down here. A 9mm fired from a $2,000 Staccato versus a 9mm being fired from a $400 handgun. Your body's not going to know the difference when it's hitting the head or the heart or whatever. Or, it might injure you, but you're not going to know it came from a cheap handgun. Plenty of people are in the grave, sadly, from cheap handguns. So please don't think because you have something expensive here, they're at a disadvantage. You're at a disadvantage if there's multiple attackers. Because if you take any type of self-defense training, like hand-to-hand fighting for self-defense, you would know when you're sparring. If you can reach somebody with your jab or your cross, more than likely they can reach you. What am I saying? I'm saying if your enemy is in range, so are you. When you get hit with a fist, it's a fist. Now, it could be a fist from Mike Tyson, or it could be a fist from the average person on the street, but you're going to get hit with something that's going to mess you up if you don't train for that. That's why I say don't train to shoot, train to fight. There are people out there that can hit just as hard as him in the civilian world because they train over and over again. They are out there. Not many of them, but they are out there. Here you are with something that can hit hard, and they have the same thing. Understand, this position can become a death trap for you. Let me take you to this diagram. This looks like a wine glass, but it's a funnel. You pour something into a funnel. It comes in, comes down here, and into the container. Whatever you pour in, you could take that funnel and tip it out, and everything comes out this way. But once it's in this container, you have to tip that container out. This is the container. You're in here. The only way out is this way, or a window, or another door. If you're on the second floor or the third floor, forget about it. Okay, I know people are going to say, I'm not running, I'm going to fight. If you're injured down here, it's a different story. Brings me to my next con. What happens if you have other people in the home? If someone is injured here, you have to be prepared to have a game plan to help that person. If there are other people in your home, if you live by yourself, but you have a kid that stays with you from time to time, that's a problem here, especially if they come running out of their room or out of the bathroom because they hear you yelling or shouting commands. You're not going to stay quiet if you have other people in your home. I would hope not. Right? If my daughter is in her bedroom and I'm in my room here, I'm not going to stay quiet. I'm going to make sure that my daughter understands something's wrong. I'm getting out of my room and I'm addressing that threat down there. All right? I'm not staying in my room. You're supposed to stay in one spot if you're by yourself, but if you're not by yourself, you have to be ready to address that threat. Even if this is the master bedroom, someone is going to come running out of here to you. You are the safety. A child is going to come running to you. The threat's here, child's going to come running here. If one of the threats gets past you and is down here, now you have somebody that you have to worry about down here and here. All right? In this setup, I'm saying. But in your home, that same scenario can happen. How, I don't know, but check out your layout of your home. I'm more than certain there's somewhere in here that you can wind up having that threat happen to you where you have to leave your room or your safe zone and address a threat somewhere outside of your or somewhere within that fatal funnel. Fatal funnels are dangerous both ways. Just because you have the fancy gun doesn't mean they don't. Criminals get the same thing you get. Yours just looks better because you're sitting there on YouTube. That's it. All right? Now, if there's multiple attackers, like I said, you have a bigger problem. People will think, well, what if they, once you start shooting from down here, they take off running. You see these dollar signs? What if that's what they came for? They heard you had money stashed in the house. Doesn't matter if you do or not. If they believe you do, they're not leaving. They're just not leaving. They heard you had money. They're going to stick around. You have it for a slush fund or whatever. You never told anybody, but someone knew you had money and someone said something. You're not flashing it on the internet like some of the younger guys are doing. And then they get robbed. Whatever the situation is, they're coming for that money. They're not leaving simply because your shotgun went ch-ch. That's another myth. If you are doing this during a home invasion, you're already behind the ball. Why isn't your shotgun ready? It should be ready the moment you grab it. The only thing you should have to do is take it off safe. Take it out of the lockbox or out of the safe. Take it off safe, and it should be ready to go. That's how it should be. You have people in your home, yes, your firearms should be locked up. Some states have different laws. I always advocate for locking your firearms up. You don't want to simply believe, simply because you live by yourself, that no one will ever get to your firearms. Yeah, they will. All right? Lock your firearms up, but the moment you open that safe, once you grab it, the only thing you should have to do is take that shotgun or the rifle or pistol, whatever, off safe. If you have a Glock, you don't have to take it off safe, but you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to do that. So when I hear people say that, that already tells me they're not really prepared with their home defense plan. All right. The other thing is, what if this is your wife or girlfriend, your daughter, your son? What if the threat that came in is coming after them? Somebody's coming out of the bathroom. They're in a line of fire. The fatal funnel has so many cons that people don't talk about online. That's the purpose of me doing this video. I don't like when guys present information online and give people the idea that all you have to do is know where the fatal funnel is, stick around here, point your gun down the hallway or down that doorway, and whatever comes through, shoot it. Whatever comes through here might be your daughter or your son. What happened if your boys are hanging out and everybody falls asleep in the living room, they plan on leaving the next morning? You had a long night, the game was on, everybody's in here asleep. They might come running down here because you're down here with the rifle. Everyone doesn't carry a firearm. You have to work the pros and cons. I don't like when people get online and tell guys all the good stuff. I'm here to tell you the good and the bad and the ugly of the fatal funnel. This is Larry Green for the Point Precision Academy telling you, don't train to shoot, train to fight. Take care.